So the time currently is 1:33 a.m. and I wanted to make a video right now, have a long drive, and essentially, don't ask me why I've got a long drive at this time, but this video is going to be a little bit of a deeper one. It's going to be a bit more of an emotional one because I want to talk to you about something that's really, really deep and something that's actually very emotional for me, at least, because I was going through my journey the other day and I was going through a journal that I actually haven't read in the longest time, and essentially I found something that actually, I'm not going to lie to you guys, made me break down into tears. But these tears were happy tears because actually I found something that I'd written before I became a profitable trader. And let me just get this direction up here. All right, cool. So I found something in this little book right here, and what it was a list of things that I was going to achieve. And I wrote this 2 years ago, and I wrote it in the present tense. So I'm going to tell you what I wrote. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey, and then I'm going to tell you how you can use something like this to become profitable or to change your life, essentially. Outside of trading, this is still hugely important. And the things I wrote in this journal right here changed my life forever. Now, before I tell you what I wrote, let me give you some backstory. So, as you guys know, I used to be a lawyer. I was essentially working a full-time 9-to-5 job in a law firm, a big law firm. And essentially many people thought that I'd completely made it. They thought that I'd done it. My parents were happy, had 3 degrees, technically, let's call it 2 degrees. And I was working the corporate job that everyone dreamed about, you know, Harvey Specter suits, all of this sort of thing. You make it as a lawyer and your family are immediately proud. But actually, I was fucking depressed. I hated my life. I hated where I was. I hated everything about where I was, to be honest. I was broke. A lot of people don't know this, but when you're starting off as a lawyer, or when you're starting off in any job, to be honest, you have to work ridiculous hours and you're not really very well rewarded for it, right? So I was working 60, 70-hour weeks, and I was actually not even working paycheck to paycheck. I was worse than paycheck to paycheck. I was in severe debt, okay? I'd racked up £10,000 worth of credit card debt because my expenses every month from living in a city centre apartment, not even a big one, a 1-bed city centre apartment, having a car, not a fancy one at all, a shitty rundown car, to be honest. It all led to me basically being in the negative every month, and I was stressing. Every time I had to pay bills or pay rent, I literally sometimes couldn't afford it and sometimes had to make my landlord wait weeks and months on end. And eventually I came to the breaking point, and I literally wrote down in that little book 5 things. And the 5 things I wrote in this book changed my life forever. And they were as follows. I said to myself I would have £100,000 in the bank and that I consistently generate £20,000 a month. I have £100,000 in my trading account. My family are healthy, and more importantly, not more importantly than my family, but more importantly than the rest of the other stuff, that TRLS was the fastest growing trading community in the game. Now, I wrote those in the present tense because I knew the premise of this video, and that is you have to already envisage yourself being in the position you want to be before it becomes reality. And essentially, I'm not going to lie to you, when I wrote these things down, in the back of my mind, I had doubts as well. And I know you guys have doubts right now about your current position, about where you can be, about what you can achieve. But the power of your word is so strong. And if you can actually change the way you think about yourself, the way you talk to yourself, the way you approach life, you can realistically change your entire situation, okay? And fast forward 2 years' time from when I wrote that, which was about a week ago, when I was checking this journal right here, this piece of leather and paper, which cost me no more than 30 quid, but ended up changing my entire life, because now all of that is fucking true. I do have £100,000 in the bank. I do have £100,000 in a trading account. I do make 20K a month. TRLS is growing fast. My family and me are healthy. And I made a video about this and I got some really good feedback, but a lot of people don't understand how deep that actually goes. I was at complete rock bottom. Complete rock bottom, and I know for a fact that some of you are in the same situation right now. And you're in a situation where you're essentially hopeless. You're so scared that you're not going to make it. You're so scared of where your future is going to lie and where your future is going to go. And it's a lonely place, especially trading, right? I guarantee most of you guys that are trading, your friends don't trade as well. And if they do, maybe they're also not where they want to be. But most likely they actually are calling you delusional. They're calling you stupid for trying to be a trader. They're calling it a scam. And that's just not the truth. But the important thing about that actually is you're getting all of this negative feedback into your brain of this doesn't work, there's no way it's possible. If it is possible, you're not going to be the one who does it. Only 1% of the people who actually try and trade make money. And guys, I know exactly how you feel. I know how you feel because I was there. And the point I'm trying to make is there's one shift that you can make outside of trading. Now, I've made countless videos on what you can do regarding directly trading, you know, how you can manage risk, how you can learn this specific strategy, how you can implement, you know, a better trading psychology. But this video goes deeper than that. It goes deeper than actually what you do on the charts. This is about what you do off the charts. And I want to talk to you about how strong your word is. Because you are embarking on a journey right now, and that journey is trying to become profitable, but more importantly, you have to think about the end cause, which is you're trying to change your life, you're trying to change your family's life. Hopefully you have a bigger goal, which is to try and, you know, bring the people that you love out of a poor situation with you, okay? Hopefully you're not just doing it for yourself. And that is a massive task. And the most important thing that I'm gonna mention here is your brain is not going to be able to do that if it doesn't think it's possible. Think about it this way, right? If I said to you, you need to go and find a skyscraper and push it over with your hands, literally just hands and feet, push it over and collapse the building. Well, you know you're not gonna be able to do that, right? And your subconscious knows you're not gonna be able to do it. So your brain is not gonna let you put full effort into it. It's not gonna let you spend countless days, hours, sleepless nights thinking about how you're gonna do this. It's just gonna go, oh, it's not possible. I'll give it a little try. Oh no, it didn't work. Okay, on to the next thing. And that's a bit of a hyperbolic example, but let's apply that to trading. If you begin your trading journey, maybe you're even halfway down it, maybe you're break even, maybe you're even making steps towards the right direction. But if you subconsciously think in the back of your mind, is this even possible? Can I even do this? Is trading real, or are all these influencers scamming? Well, what's going to happen then, very simply, is the exact same thing. Your brain's going to go, yeah, you're right, this is not possible. Let's conserve energy. From an evolutionary standpoint, let's conserve energy. We're not going to put our full resources into this. We're going to devote time to other stuff that might be more important. And the reason I'm saying that is because now, at the stage you are, no matter what you do in terms of strategy, psychology on the charts, if you don't truly believe that it's possible, you are never going to make it as a trader, because your brain is stopping you. Your subconscious mind is telling you, I don't believe it's possible. So how do we go ahead and fix that? Well, first of all, the easiest way would be to find someone who actually has done it, like me, and ask them what they've done, how they've done it, ask for proof, and give your brain physical evidence that this shit is possible. Now, if you can't do that, because a lot of people can't, maybe you don't know a profitable trader, maybe you can't reach out to someone like me in the DMs, whatever it might be, the next best thing is you need to reinforce with your spoken word. And I genuinely mean spoken words. And I'm not someone who's going to talk to you about manifestation or affirmations or all of these things, but the reality is they are real. Every single person who has made money will tell you the exact same thing. And it comes down to just pure faith and belief, okay? Now, I'm a religious man. If you're not a religious man, then I don't know what to say. But if you are, you will know that faith is the number one thing that holds us to our beliefs, that holds us to a higher power, that holds us accountable. And you need to apply that into your trading. You need to do exactly what I've just done. And if you're watching this video and you haven't done something like this with this notebook, I want you to go ahead and write down 5 things that you want to achieve, 5 goals that you have within trading, maybe outside of trading as well, but you're gonna write them down as if they already happened. So when I wrote them down, like I told you, I consistently make £20,000 a month. Not I will consistently make that, because then you're saying you're not there yet. It's not possible yet. You're not that profitable trader yet, right? I have £100,000 in the bank. I said that to myself when I had £10,000 in credit card debt. You understand? Right? But I said it to myself as if it was already true, and I said it to myself over and over and over. And my brain immediately started to think, holy shit, I'm a rich person. I'm rich in terms of money. Even though I wasn't, right? Your mind does not know the difference between a joke, a lie, and the truth. It cannot tell the difference between these 3 things. So if you lie to yourself in a positive manner, your brain will start to believe it, okay? And you can utilize that to give you superpowers. Genuinely give you superpowers that are going to enable you to achieve what you want to achieve. And you would have heard people say before, you need to become a profitable trader before you actually become profitable. And what they mean is you need to actually act and behave and have the mind of a profitable trader before your account is reflecting that. And that's completely true. And that's exactly what you're doing with these affirmations, because you are tricking your brain into enabling yourself to do that. And the next thing as well is you're building up a confidence in the charts when you're on the charts to actually say, I don't need to fucking overtrade right now. I don't need to over risk. I'm already profitable. I don't need money. It's abundance mindset, right? A lot of you guys have a scarcity mindset, and this is something that I've fortunately always had. And everyone always told me that it was a bad thing, it was a negative thing, that Sam's really loose with money, he doesn't care what he spends it on, or he's always super optimistic about the fact that there's gonna be more money coming in. And it's true. If you're someone who doesn't buy a specific coffee or whatever, you don't go to Starbucks because, it's cheaper to get coffee at home, it's £4, $4 or whatever, to buy a coffee at Starbucks when I could just have one at home. Well, that is a broke fucking mindset. Money is infinite. The government is printing money on a daily basis. In fact, on a second by second basis, the government is printing billions and billions of dollars. And you think that not spending £4 on a Starbucks is gonna be what makes you rich? No, you need to build an abundance mindset, because when you build an abundance mindset towards money, you begin to attract that money, because you begin to attract what you don't care about, okay? And I'll give you the main example that everyone thinks about, and most of you guys watching are exactly that, you're guys, right? The majority of my audience, I think, is 96% male. And I love you guys very, very much. But the reason I say that is because the one thing guys know about, and guys think about more than money potentially, most of you maybe not, but most of you are thinking about women as well as money. And so let's give you an example relating to women. You guys know that when you chase women, the more you try and message a girl or call a girl 50 times a day or chase after her, they immediately are pushed back. It's like a magnet pushing a magnet, right? 2 ends of the magnet pushing into each other, it just repels. But when you start to actually develop yourself, develop your confidence, develop your, personal brand, let's say, as a human, suddenly you start to get women throwing themselves all over you. And the same thing applies with money. The more you chase money and the more you think it's a scarce resource, the less you are going to be able to generate money. But the more you actually put yourself in the position to actually attract money by starting to do the right things, building good habits, turning up to the charts with a great mindset, not having scarcity, you're gonna start to see money just flowing through the doors. And that's why you have to already see yourself as someone who has money before you even have it. Now, I have a few friends that have a serious amount of money just from essentially being born rich. And some of them are so stingy. And I was just thinking, I literally had credit card debt and I would still be buying funded accounts. I literally spent rent money on fucking funded accounts and blew them because I knew what was going to happen in the end. And actually, someone asked me a question the other day on stream, which was, how did I repay the debt that I had once I started making money? Because again, it goes back to this scarcity mindset. Most people would go, oh, I need to repay the debt because debt's a bad thing and all this sort of stuff. I minimum paid my debts, my credit cards, for as long as I possibly could. When I actually started having money to pay them back, I think one month I made like £3,000 from trading, and I still had 10K in credit card debts. I could have just stuck that 3K straight back into my credit cards and been like, oh, I feel a little bit better now. But I did not do that. I stuck the minimum payment, which was probably 1,000, maybe a little bit less, I can't remember. And then I immediately reinvested that back into my trading. I bought a couple of funded accounts, put the rest into my live account, and I knew that this shit would work out. And even if I didn't know deep down, I told myself over and over and over, this shit is going to work out. It has to work out. If it doesn't, I'm fucked anyway. I'm not going to give American Express or whoever the fuck it was more money when I need this money to generate more money, right? I was utilizing the capital that I had, even though I had hardly anything, the small amount of money that I made, I understood that I had to utilize that to generate more money. And when you have a scarcity mindset, people are scared of deploying their capital because they're scared that they're going to lose it. You know, oh, I don't want to invest in this thing because what if it goes down? Or, oh, I don't want to do this if I don't want to buy a funded account because I need to pay for rent, or whatever it is. And I'm not advising that you necessarily do what I did, but at the end of the day, it comes down to one simple thing. Do you back yourself? Do you back yourself to go and actually make fucking money, right? And if you did back yourself, you'd be okay deploying money onto your fucking funded account or brokerage account or whatever the fuck it may be, because you would back yourself and have the confidence that you are a profitable trader, you have the ability to do this, and you're gonna use this money to generate more money, and you're not gonna throw it down the drain, right? And essentially, you have to act as if it's already happened. There's no other way about it. And this brings me on to my next point, which is actually so important. And a lot of you guys, I see it happen day in, day out, and you are killing your future essentially by doing this one thing wrong. And what you're doing day in, day out is, all of you guys have ambitions, you have dreams. If you don't have dreams, then there's something wrong with you. But I know all of you do, because everyone in my DMs floods me with, I want to do this, I really want to achieve this, I'm so determined. SG, I need this, can you give me a certain amount of money? I'm so determined. But then, all of you, not all of you, most of you don't follow through on your own promises to yourself. And this is the biggest mistake that you are making. You don't follow through on the promises that you make to yourself. So you'll tell yourself, I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m. tomorrow, I'm gonna hit the gym and then I'm gonna trade. And then 6 a.m. comes around and you go, oh, let me just sleep in a little bit. Maybe I'll skip the gym today. Maybe I'll just jump on the charts instead. But you say, oh, I'm gonna be disciplined on the charts today. I'm gonna go ahead and actually stick to my plan. I'm gonna make sure that I'm profitable. I'm gonna do everything that my mentor told me to do. And then what actually ends up happening is, you get to the charts and you don't do it. Now, not only is that going to affect your trading, it's also going to affect your personal mentality, because I'll give you an example and I'll translate this into something else. Imagine you had a friend that you were going to train at the gym with, right? And every single day you said, right, what time are we going to meet at the gym tomorrow? And you decide on a time, 10:30 in the morning, cool. And then your friend never turns up on time. All right, so my camera just overheated, but imagine, what I was saying was, imagine your friend just never turns up to the gym on time after you set the time every single day, and you said to him, you know, mate, this is getting ridiculous now. You need to turn up to the gym at the right time because I have other commitments, I have stuff to do. And he goes, yeah, okay, cool. I will, I promise. And then the exact same thing happens the very next day. You say, 10:30, and he turns up at 11, or he turns up at 12, and he's late, and he can't commit to the promises that he's made. Well, eventually, you're gonna stop believing him, and you're gonna turn up to the gym whenever you want because you don't trust your friend to turn up at the time you've agreed on. And the exact same thing happens within your own mind when you are making these promises to yourself and then not fulfilling them. You're saying to yourself, yeah, I'm gonna stay disciplined on the charts, I promise, I'm gonna stay locked in. There's no way that I FOMO again, or I'm not gonna over risk again. And what actually ends up happening is, you do it, and now your subconscious mind is saying to yourself, well, if I make a promise to myself, I never keep it anyway, so I can do what I want. There's no reason for me to stay disciplined. There's no reason to hold myself accountable. And then you stop believing in yourself and you essentially just fall apart. You stop going to the gym, you stop working out, you stop trading appropriately, you stop following your rules, and it all just falls apart. And you're not going to become who you want to be when you're essentially breaking all of your promises to yourself. How do you think that life is going to continue, and how do you think that you're going to be essentially an accountable person for others? You know, you want to give your parents a good life, you want to retire your family, you want to be the person who pulls through, who essentially can provide for everyone else, and you can't even hold through, and you can't even hold accountable towards yourself. So how the fuck are you going to provide for others? It's not going to happen, right? Trading is the most competitive industry on the planet. Forget anything else. The finance industry is the most competitive industry on the planet, hands down. And you think you could just lackadaisically pull up to the markets, not even be accountable within yourself, not be self-disciplined, not have a correct mindset, and essentially just being a lazy and slovenly person, and you think you're going to dominate the markets like that? Of course you are not, okay? Again, it all comes down to the power of your word. And I said this to my girlfriend when I met her, and the change I've seen throughout those years has been monumental, because I told her, the more you speak to yourself in a positive manner, the more positive your life becomes. And she just thought it was wishy-washy. She just thought it was one of those things that people read on Instagram. But I'll tell you this one story. The moment my life changed, and the one thing I did, again, I'm not some incredibly disciplined person. I'm not someone who's special or I had it cracked from the beginning. But the one thing I tried was, fuck it, let me just start talking to myself in a positive manner. Let me just start reinforcing myself positively. You would never walk up to someone on the street and be like, you're so fucking undisciplined, you're a piece of shit, you can't do this, you can't do that. You talk to yourself so badly. I mean, you would never do that to someone on the street, right? But you think just because you're talking to yourself, that's okay. Well, it's not. And again, I want you to just reframe the entire way that you're talking to yourself. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself 5 things that you're grateful for. And everything you do throughout the day, give yourself the small wins. I say this to all my one-on-one students, right? To all of the people that I mentor, we have so much contact one-to-one, actually talking on phone calls or messages or whatever. And the one thing I say to them is, you have to start taking the small wins. No matter what the win is. Maybe you took, you hit SL on a trade, right? Not many people can take a win from that. Well, what have you actually learned? And was your stop loss in the right position? You know, maybe the trade continued to run down at 100 points more after you hit stops. Well, if that's the case, then you killed it. You manage risk appropriately. That's a small win. You should be taking those wins as they come and essentially giving yourself something positive to think about that builds that positive momentum, because again, momentum is the #1 goal in life. Momentum is how you build serious money, build serious wealth. Momentum is how you achieve greatness, because you start to stack small wins, compound them over time, and eventually those small wins become very, very big wins. But the same can happen with losses. People think about the snowball effect and they think about it in a positive manner, but the same can happen in a negative manner. If you're constantly telling yourself you're a piece of shit, or trading's impossible, you're not going to make it, well, what's actually going to happen is you're going to start to slowly snowball into an even more negative person, and then a negative person has no energy, and they're unable to commit to their goals, they're unable to commit to what they need to do, they're undisciplined. And where do you think that's going to get you? I don't even have to tell you that. You know the answer yourself, right? So realistically, guys, if you take one thing away from this video, I want you to take away the fact that as a trader, you need to be at the top of your game as a human being. All right? At the end of the day, you are an extension of your trading account. Your trading account is an extension of you. Apologies, the other way around. The way you act directly reflects in your P&L. So if you can become the best version of yourself before you even get to the charts, you are setting yourself up to go way further than you even thought was possible. But guys, I'm getting to my destination now, and listen, I just wanted to make this video because honestly, I was reading through my journal. It was one of the most emotional things I've done ever, to be honest. It was a full circle moment, truly was. And I needed to share that with you guys because I love you all and I truly want to see each and every one of you succeed. The most important thing in my life right now is helping as many of you become profitable as physically possible. I'm trying to help you guys achieve serious greatness. And you can see that from the amount of free stuff I give you, the free value, the videos, the streams. The fact that I talk to almost every single one of you in DMs, even though I don't have to, right? I'm doing it purely out of the fact that I love you guys. Remember as well, if you have God on your side, you're gonna go way further than if you don't, right? And the most important thing is God makes all of this possible. And if you approach the world that He's created and the body that He's given you and the blessings that you've already received from Him, and you're grateful for them, you're gonna receive many more, right? If you were to give someone a present and they were ungrateful, you're probably never gonna give them a present again. The same applies with God. He's given you all these blessings, He's given you a healthy life, He's given you the ability to even be alive, to live in this beautiful world. And if you're ungrateful for that, why the hell would He want to give you even more blessings, right? But if you're grateful every single day and you turn up and you thank Him for it, you're gonna receive so much more. So listen guys, I love you all with all my heart. Jesus loves you. And I'll see you in the next one, man. Much love. Bye-bye.